growing population, an expanding middle class, increasing urbanization, tourism potential, intra-African trade opportunities that drive economic growth across our continent. These will all be achieved through connectivity, and aviation is right at the center of that. But unlocking these opportunities will require bold decisions. It will require stronger partnerships. It will require regulatory transformation. It will require investment in infrastructure and technology.
Thank you very much for joining me here at African Pilot at the AFRAA event.
I've been in this job now for 30 days. It's an interesting journey, but luckily I'm not new to SAA. I've been a member of EXCO for now almost 2 years, also at the same time running air chefs. So very familiar with the strategies and the organization, and very grateful for the support of the team.
Quite a bit of mixed press coming into the change. You've stated you've been there a while. You're no stranger to the environment and on EXCO. There are obviously some problems. How are you giving us some confidence going forward?
Some of them have been noted, especially the ones that were highlighted during our parliamentary sitting, when we were sitting before the Parliamentary Commission of Transport and Appropriations. Those are historical problems, Philippa. They were noted, and they're related to the state of the financials as of the 31st of March, 2025. And we have accepted those reports with humility, and we are taking lessons from those reports. We are implementing steps, systems, processes, and injecting skills in the organization to deal with those financial irregularities, lack of financial records, so that we can improve our audit outcome.
So we've got some route rationalization happening. There's talks of that. There's also a need for some additional aircraft. What plans are you putting down?
The aviation market has currently been disrupted quite significantly. And there is a word that says no plan actually survives its first contact with reality. This year is quite unique in its own way. We did some plans at the beginning of the year. We certainly did not expect that things would turn out the way they have with regard to the Iran war. That has upended all forms of assumptions that we had put in those plans. The increase in the Brent crude from almost doubling to 115 has precipitated an increase of 150% in jet fuel, which is the biggest component of our cost base, relative to the ticket price. So that now has become an immediate priority for us, for all the airlines actually. SAA is not spared. As a priority, we've had to look at selective and strategic fare adjustments, partnering with our suppliers in as far as cost reductions are concerned, and even internally, improving processes and productivity, among other things. So we're doing a plethora of things to try to make sure that our operations are cash positive in these very quite difficult times. We believe that the crisis will come to an end. Things will go back to normal, and the sooner the better. When they do, our execution against our long-term plan will accelerate.
There are operational efficiencies, there's some MRO aspects, there are new planes that are or are not required. But what are the low-hanging fruits to kind of get things really started?
There are positive things that are going on at the SAA. First low-hanging fruit is to build on our well-known reputation of great service across our entire value chain in the planes, providing convenience, connectivity through highly dedicated and motivated staff. We want to rebuild the credibility that has been undermined by this, what we spoke about earlier, the governance challenges that were highlighted in the Auditor General report. You've also highlighted the issues at SAT to make that part of that division productive and be a critical enabler in making our operations efficient as well as cost effective. Those are some of the things that we are doing, and as well as continue to inculcate a high performance culture in the organization.
Key achievements for you this year? I mean, when you get to 100 days and you look back, what are you going to be going, yes, we ticked that off?
One of the key achievements that I'm looking for me, is the restatement of the strategy and alignment with everybody in the organization. I'm going around. We have just finalized our corporate plan, and the implementation of the corporate plan is going to require everyone in the organization singing the same tune, working in concert to deliver value to our passengers. Okay, and that for me will be a key thing. The second part is, I'm coming back to the issue, is about creating that culture of accountability in as far as audit outcomes are concerned. Some of those in some parts of the organization appear to be repetitive. So the implementation of the steering committees, the loss control committees, making sure that those are working effective as well as holding people accountable is going to be quite key for us to get over. And then, lastly, safety. We are very well known as a safe airline. We want to continue to maintain and exceed our safety record.
Fleet and skills.
Yes.
So we've heard the OEMs talk about how many planes Africa needs, how many pilots we need, how many technicians we need. What is your need as an airline for South Africa and certainly servicing the African continent?
There is a challenge with regard to skills on our continent because of the growth of other airlines elsewhere in other parts of the world that are slightly more competitive. There was another workshop that was held here, or another where the panelists, there was another panel where the other panelists were talking about how to grow skills in Africa, girls, people coming out of school. So we have got a school at SAA. We are collaborating with organizations outside of SAA to build the next generation of pilots to enable us with that. Not only that, but on the MRO side, we have got an internal school as well, where we bring people from matric through apprenticeships until they can maintain some of our big aircraft there. So as I said, the key thing for us is not only to train these people, but to find ways that we can retain them in a highly competitive environment. That is one of the things that we'll be seized with as an executive team going forward. Retention, not only just training, but retaining those skills, because we need those skills for the future.
All personal belongings.